Hello everyone. Welcome to this coding session for Gefyra Docker Desktop. We're trying to add the bridge feature, which basically is already part of the Gefyra CLI. Let's have a look. So if we go to the docs, you see can already bridge workloads. What is bridging? Basically, we're running a container and we're kind of replacing a workload in Kubernetes with our container, and other workloads who are talking to it basically access our local container. If you don't know Gefyra, check it out on GitHub. It's all open source, and well, let's go. I would say I already started coding a bit yesterday, but not too much. So let's have a look at this. Where are we at? So Gefyra Docker Desktop basically is an extension which you can install in Docker Desktop to run containers and connect them to a Kubernetes cluster. And now we also want the services in the cluster to be able to connect to our container. So I got a running container here, and if you click on it, you basically see the native Docker log view. It's already stopped, but it doesn't really matter now. So this doesn't work. For what reason? I guess the server is not running. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. It's back. Okay. So we got. This is basically a React app, nothing really special. And I'm not really very proficient in React, so bear with me. If you see anything, we could improve, open a pull request or an issue, I would really appreciate the help. So basically what I was thinking, we opened an issue on GitHub for this. Gefyra Docker Desktop Extension to bridge the workload. And I was thinking we add a button for running container here, which allows to bridge a container, then open a modal or a separate view. We probably don't need the namespace. I just talked to Michael about it yesterday. Because when we're running a container in a certain namespace, we will probably bridge into the same namespace. So we just need the targets. Then at the ports and the timeout, the handle probes. These are basically the parameters which you have for the command line interface. And as soon as it's bridged, we kind of change the column to show bridge information, unbridge, something like that. So let's dive right in here. I already wrote a view for the bridge settings, which is already accessible. So let's just run a container in the Docker Desktop Kubernetes. It's already up and running here. Let's just sleep for a long time. Boom, the container's running. There's not much output, but that's okay. It's just sleeping. Here it is. So if we click on bridge, we go to the bridge settings view. Can probably remove the dash here, the slash, and the progress bar is completely wrong. We don't have the target loading, and I guess the port mapping is already is still, I think it doesn't access the right variables, so some things to do. Let's see. Bridge container. I think this is written in the home view. Bridge container. Let's just it takes like this, and we do basically just want to strip the first character, right? Sub string is this more like this, and we use names 0.length, so like this, right? And let's just close it. This should basically remove the, oh, is it like from 0? Of course from 1. Should kind of remove the slash in front, perfect. So let's just say bridge settings 4. I think that would be a bit more clear. So this is there. We get the progress bar. Why do we have a progress bar which even says the wrong stuff? So this is the stepper component. We're using MUI. Just have a look. MUI is a library. Basically, Docker recommends to use MUI for building extensions. So let's see what we can do here. Why is it actually shown? I'm not completely sure. So we got the progress bar. Oh, when there's the home view. And I think we can just let's do something like this. Home bridge includes view. View home this is something like, and yeah, exactly. Just bring the home. Kind of something like this, right? And if we have view bridge, bring up the bridge settings like this. What's with the what's the matter here now? As already mentioned, not really that proficient with React. Something looks off here. Wait, would that work? No. So probably do we need something like this? Yeah. So we got the bridge settings here. It doesn't look too bad. But also maybe we should add the container in the same manner. I do this now. So let's do something like that. This looks good, but probably the home view is also fine. That's nice. Perfect. So we don't need this bridge button actually anymore. So let's remove that. Bridge container. one. Let's get rid of it. Perfect. A new container. That makes more sense. So let's fill in the targets. So the targets should somewhat look like workload type, workload name, and the container. I believe the container is even optional, but not completely sure. I think we can check that in the test cases. Let's see. Bridge, no bridge, invalid deployment, invalid container, with container, with deployment. Let us run bridge default parameters. What's the default bridge? Yeah, it's including. That probably doesn't. Oh, here's the target. Short name deployment without container name. Ah, that should work. Okay, let's go. Let's just work with. Yeah, what do we work with? We basically need the workloads. So we're leveraging a binary of the Gefyra library, which basically allows us to talk from the JavaScript to the Python library. And what we need the workloads. Oh yeah, there's the workloads request. I think we already have that. We already have that in the container settings. Oh yeah, I started with that. We have the workload request. Does the workload request actually work with a exec? All namespaces. It doesn't restrict the namespaces here. So basically what we want to do is we create composable, which allows us to retrieve the workloads and reuse the code. Let's see if we can do that. Oh yeah, the workloads are basically in my namespace. So what we probably want to do is exactly we return set the workloads from the namespace, and what we do here, so true, and we re-evaluate if the namespace changes. That should be it. And only if namespace, otherwise we do nothing. So we can kind of call that for the container settings, I guess. So we have a composable now. I have this, I don't really remember how this was created. Const use Docker images. Here. So you basically do something like this. Basically we go from here, I would say. Let's re-unindent this. Isn't that like returning a boolean? Loading. Workloads loading does not exist on type. Oh, I just call it loading. And we work with the namespace value here. And this should work as before. I'm not really sure. Let's check. So we basically rewrote this. Oh, it's broken. Surprise. So what's the matter here? Can we clear this up? So invalid hook call must be inside the body of the function component. So this one basically says we have to do this here, and this must be namespace, right? Namespace. Yeah, let's go back. Load the namespaces. Okay, things are still kind of broken. What's the matter now? Yeah, I thought that like with a refactoring this would probably break. Okay, it does the workload request, I guess. Right, so if we go back, we clear, let's do that. Yeah, the workload request is there. Retrieve the images. What's the matter now? Let's debug. Open this one and see what's going on here. Okay, here we go. So this basically turns the response with workloads. Okay, things are there. I would guess this looks good. Looks good. So why isn't it showing up? This is not the problem, right? Okay, what's wrong now? Oh, there's a available workloads. What is this? So this is set here. It's never set. Oh, this looks weird. Never used. Okay. Workloads includes and from select. So let's namespace value is not relevant here. And let's just like do this. And I don't even know like what is happening here. Back, forth. This is empty. Why is this empty? Yeah, we don't need it here. Workloads is empty. Use workloads. Because the namespace thing should be basically set, right? I mean, like when we do this. Okay, this looks shitty. What is happening? Now it's logging the Gefyra workloads, even though we're in the normal namespace. This looks a bit lagging behind. Alright, I thought we could use that as a composable. But maybe we don't. Maybe we just call that get workloads, and it just basically does this. It's an async function. I'm literally so bad at this, so let's see. No more loading. So now it's kind of returning if we don't have a namespace, we don't return anything. And what we do now is we kind of undo all this. Exactly. So now we do something like const workloads equals get workloads namespace value, and we remove this thing here, handle the error. Workloads includes doesn't have a promise type, never. Yeah, this is not very good typed. So we return kind of like this, right? Return promise string. I guess do something like this. This looks better. No workloads available. Oh yeah, this looks like what I wanted. There are no workloads in the default namespace, but that's okay. That's okay. So we get the workloads now, and we have our running container, and we want to get the targets here. So let's try that with the bridge settings. Select target, set select target, workloads map. Doesn't look too bad. This looks also not too bad. Where do we get the namespace from? I guess we get it here. Does it load target active? So target active true. Oh, yeah. So there's an undefined map. Let's see what it is. Oh, this is some old stuff. So obviously workloads is nothing here, right? So is it undefined? When is it undefined? Like this is a list of strings, and is there like an no, that worked very well. This kind of looks like there's something wrong with the response actually here. Oh, it's namespace. Okay. We obviously have to handle this if not workloads length. We kind of return in the end, but we do something like this. No workloads found. We don't set it active. Or value set target. How do we do that? It's been some time that I worked with this, so value select is, so we're kind of doing something like this. No, it didn't work. Why? Why is it not showing up? It's getting here, right? Yeah, it's there. Is there something with the label? Does it have to be active for that? works. Kind of. So we can choose the target now. That's nice. It looks good. So there's basically no target. Let's bring some targets into the cluster. Let's use the Gefyra demo. We got this front end, back end demo. I gave this talk at KCD Munich, and I believe this should be not too problematic. We got this. I think this should work out of the box. Perfect. Demo. Okay, these are now spinning up, and they should show up in kind of a short time. Perfect. So these should show up now. We go here. Yeah, we get the backend and the front end, and for some reason the backend is disabled. Because we kind of have to do something like this, right? Push. Label. Select the workload. Value select. Kind of something like this. Is it extend? No. What's the JavaScript function to? How did I do it here? Concat. Something like this. Oh yeah, perfect. So now we can choose the workload here. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, it's pods. There are no deployments. So we have to choose the pod, which is okay, I guess. And we already have the correct notation. Yeah. Or do we? Yeah, that should work. Can we just bridge that now? That would be quite awesome. Let's try that. So we got our button. Let's call the function bridge. We can put that into a progress bar later. But first, let's run the bridge. So we kind of need a bridge request. Perfect. Namespace equals namespace. Bridge request target equals target. Let's just go with the default timeout. I don't know. Let's do something like this. We don't work with port mappings for now. And let's, well, I think the Gefyra client should already be there, right? Gefyra client dot exec. What am I missing? Oh wait. Yeah, well, we can just bridge request. What's the matter? Oh, it didn't initialize. That's just working. I would. Oh, wait, and handle target change. So basically, I think. Perfect. Set target. Yeah, exactly like this. It's kind of not working. Why? Okay, this is unused. Just remove that. Select. What is the matter now? Set target. It's been way too long. Oh, dispatch. No, okay, here we go. Required field name. Ports. Okay, I mean, I don't. Let's just do something like this, and we can add the name with something like bridge container. Let's do something a bit more. Something like this. Status false. What does that even mean? This computer is not new. I haven't installed Gefyra yet. Okay, it didn't create an intercept request. Something is clearly not working. Status false. Let's have a look at the Gefyra extension. So how does the bridge request status? Okay, so it wasn't successful, obviously. But we don't exactly know why. So let's see, parts is a dictionary, that should be right. That should be right. Handle probes is true. We don't have any probes, I believe. You can check that. No probe. Why is it not working? Not completely sure. So it seems to really call the bridge function of the library, and for some reason it just doesn't work. Could it be that the backend service has some kind of, no, doesn't have like a command or something, because we don't support bridging services with commands. At least there's some restriction on that, which should be documented here. I think it's somewhere. Yeah, exactly. This is like a known limitation. We just allow to bridge workloads that run containers with like common shell commands, but nothing really specific. So if you're executing like a specific binary, let's just say Python, it wouldn't work. You can just wrap it into a shell command or something and then it works. Or bash or whatever shell is available, if there's any. But this is a current limitation. Now, this doesn't seem to be the problem. There seems to be something else. Why is it not bridging? Let's try the manual way. So we should fix that. That looked horrible. Let's tap Gefyra. Boom. Perfect. So Gefyra is written in Python, and we're using PyOxidizer to create binaries for the different operating systems and also kind of universal builds for ARM and Intel. Oh. That looks good. Here we go. Gefyra is up and connected. We have a container, we have a working connection, Docker Desktop. Everything looks very, very good. So now let's try the Gefyra bridge name test backend. Target is hot backend. Timeout we probably don't need. Let's do something like this. What else do we need? I think handle probes is optional. Name parts. Oh, namespace default. Really? Unrecognized argument. Could be that we don't have that in the command line interface. Could not find container test backend. Oh, shame on me. This is the container name. Oh God. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. So this is basically just the bridge container. I was thinking this could be the name of the bridge itself, but that doesn't make sense, I guess. So let's try that. That's given timeout bridge. Bridge request. Yeah, that may take some time. Not sure why it is appending this 2 here. Could be the typings. Oh, I think it's probing the container to work on that specific part, and we just have like a sleep running. Yeah. I guess this now doesn't list bridge. Yeah. Gefyra unbridge. Okay, this should be removed now. Let's just remove this one and run like a proper container. We can, I think, just here backend demo. Oh, we have doubled these. I think we can just run the Python workload for this. Let's go to the back end and see how the Docker file looks like. Yeah, we use something like this. Let's just format it properly and then it should kind of work. Remove all those things and these. This should be the command we want to run. Let's put here. And the port mappings. Yeah, well, let's go with 5002. We could also add a volume mount, but not for now. Let's just start the container. Okay. There we go. Should be available in the browser. Not found. Oh, I think I got something like, yeah, exactly. We got the color here. And now we should probably be able to bridge that one. Let's use that. Pod backend bridge. And I think it's like probing the port. Don't, like, I would have to look it up. But this bridge request should return at some point. Parts. Oh, parts is empty. Shame on me. Because I defaulted it, right? Gefyra like list bridges. Gefyra unbridge. Let's remove that. And this is not clean, but just for trying this out. Wait, where do we get the port mappings from? Port mapping. Yeah, it's not like this, right? It's already here. Okay. Oh, what's the matter here? Port mapping is not assignable. Index signature string must be in type of mapping. Oh, we have to this is like a list of port mappings. I think I already did that here. Something like this. Let's just import. Perfect. So now it's always using the same, but that kind of should work. Let's try that again. Oh yeah, perfect. That is true. The bridge is there. I mean, we don't get any feedback visually, but the bridge should be established. Let's try Gefyra status. There's a bridge. List bridges. Perfect. Yeah, so this looks like we're getting closer to implementing the bridge feature for Gefyra. Nice. All right, I think that should be it for now. Maybe we continue offline, maybe we continue online later. That should be enough for today. We managed to create a bridge through the user interface, through the Gefyra extension to the Gefyra library. Nice. Thank you for tuning in and see you later.